Hope you guys are all okay and all good. Welcome to another video and something I hadn't actually planned on doing. You guys were so responsive and gave so many great comments in my last video. One, about whether or not I should do an LGBT readathon. The answer seems to be yes, so keep your eyes out for that. I'm going to hope to do that at some point in June. I need to talk to people about it and see if it's possible and see if I can get some people to host alongside me. But basically, it's a go. Second, I had a lovely comment from Darik B1. You commented on my last video saying, what was the best queer book you ever read? And I thought, well, there is a video in this, George. Don't just reply to the comment. Do a video response like it's old YouTube or something. I don't know. I wasn't here for video responses. So I went through my A to Z of LGBT books, which is a video that I did in December 2015, which is basically 26 LGBT books that I really loved, and then I went through my Goodreads and I had a little flick through and to see which ones my favourites were. There are a couple that already jumped out and that I knew I was going to pick, and there are a couple of others that I thought, do you know what, I do want to read that again. So this is also sort of stuff I want to reread, which is partly why it's a favourite, is that I want to go back to it and I want to do it again. And this idea for a video all came from a comment, so if you have any questions that you want me to answer in a video, comment them below and I'll do videos. That's a fun way to make videos. It means you're getting content that you're actually asking for. And also it helps me have ideas because I don't have many. I'm not that smart. So this video is 5 of my most favoritist queer books ever. Some of these books on this list will not surprise you. The first one from this particular author certainly won't, and that is Two Boys Kissing by David Levithan. Notice all the post-its. All the post-its. I loved this book with my whole heart. I thought it was one of the most beautiful, heartbreaking and heart-wrenching books that I'd ever read. I've not read it since, but I really want to go back and do it all over again. When this question was asked, this was one of the first books that popped into my head because it gave me so many feels. This book tells the story of a multitude of gay boys who are going through various different things in their life, all told by a chorus of the gay men who have passed before us. It centres around Craig and Harry, who are two boys that were kissing, trying to break a world record, and it shows all of these different stories, this tapestry of love and gayness that I find so beautiful and so freaking touching. One of my absolute faves of all time and a huge recommend from me. David Levithan is a huge recommend from me anyway. I've not read a single one of his books that I have not loved. So that too. Basically this and every other David Levithan book that exists in the world. The next book on this list is The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson. This is a book that I had the absolute pleasure of reading pre-publication in 2014, I want to say. It came out in January 2015, but I think I got to read it in 2014. I think that's what happened because I got a proof sent through the post. This book tells the story of David Piper and Leo Denton. They don't know each other at the start of the book, but both of them have pretty big secrets in their life. Life-changing, world-changing secrets. David's secret is that he is a transgender girl, and only his two best friends in the whole world know. And when Leo ends up defending him from bullies, an unlikely friendship forms, but things are about to get messy, and secrets don't stay secrets for long, especially in YA fiction. I love this book. Again, this is another one that I loved with my absolute whole heart. Lisa is an incredible writer. She manages to deal with issues that are quite sensitive and quite serious with a light touch, and this was so beautiful and so very honest. It felt honest anyway, and knowing the work that Lisa has done with trans kids as well, knowing that she has done the research and getting to read this and knowing that she has written an absolutely stunning and gorgeous little beacon of love is great. I love this book and it was my absolute favourite book of 2015, so that's one for you as well. I'm desperate to read her new one. I've got it sitting on my shelf. Her new book All About Mia came out in January just gone, I believe, and I still need to read it. It's sat right there and I need to read it. The next book on this list I do not have a copy of. I lent it to someone, I can't remember who, and I'm yet to get it back, and that book is Ask the Passengers by A.S. King. This is one of the few books that I've actually read and put down and thought, oh my god, that was absolutely bloody perfect. It picked me up and it swept me along and it was just so absolutely gripping and gorgeous. It tells the story of a girl called Astrid who is looking for someone to confide in. She can't get to her mum, who is being incredibly pushy, and she cannot get to her dad, who just doesn't seem to have any interest in her whatsoever. So what she does is she lies outside, looks up to the sky and sends all of her thoughts and feelings to the passengers flying in the planes overhead. She doesn't know who any of the passengers are. All she knows is that they won't judge her when she is telling them her deepest, darkest secrets, especially when she tells them that she's falling in love with a girl. It is so original, so absolutely stonking, and like rip your heart out good. It's so great. I absolutely loved it. It's the only A.S. King that I've read as well, which makes me feel terrible. I swear I bought another one and it's sitting on my shelf somewhere. I need to read more A.S. King, especially if they're going to be these high concept, original, pretty damn brilliant books. So that too. The next book on this list is a non-fiction offering, which is This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson. I am a huge fan of Juno Dawson's fiction, as I have said many times on this channel, and while this is a departure for her, it shows her voice off in a way that she didn't get to show it off in her fiction titles. This Book is Gay is a manual for queer people. It tells you basically everything that you would need to know, at least everything that you would need to know in 2014. There is going to be an updated edition of this coming out this year, I believe, which is really exciting. So I'm excited to see what that's going to be like and the additional material that they put in it. But it's a fantastic book. It should be in every school. It should be in every library, and everyone should have to read it because it's brilliant. It's funny. It manages to deal with, in the same way that Lisa does it, but obviously in a non-fiction way, it deals with things that could be quite sensitive with a really light touch, and talks about sex in a way that is so frank and so honest that it's just perfect. This, yes. And last but by no means least, a book that should surprise basically none of you if you've been watching this channel for more than 5 minutes. My absolute most favoritist book of all time, and I count this to be the book that saved my life, Boy Meets Boy by David Levithan. I reread this book every year. Without fail, at some point over the course of a year, I will sit down and I will read this book. It is my favourite book ever of all the books. It's gorgeous. It's not overly complicated. It's the first book that I read where I got to see gay people represented, one, in a positive way, and two, as the main characters in a love story. And it was just so wonderful. And I'm so glad that I get to call David a friend and I get to hang out with him and talk to him, and it's an absolute privilege. Boy Meets Boy tells the story of Paul and Noah, two boys in a utopian little town somewhere in America where being gay is okay and where no one really questions who you are. It tells the story of Paul and how Paul meets Noah and how love blossoms and how life is complicated and love is sometimes complicated, and it's just so gorgeous. And more than a book about love, it's a book about friendship, and it's a book about how your family is the family that you create around yourself. It's gorgeous and just my favourite little beacon of love in the bookish world. If you've not read it before, I highly recommend that you do. It's so sweet and just so bloody lovely. So this. And that's the end of this video. These are 4 of the 5 books that are my most favoritist queer books of all time. Let me know what yours are in the comments box below. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to leave some questions down below of videos you want me to make, or questions that you would like me to answer in a video, whether it's about books or film or TV or my big gay life. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all my social places. Links are in the description box below. Don't forget to put a like on this video if you did, and to subscribe if you want to see more. I love every single one of your faces, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!